Hello, welcome again to FAIRtax Power Radio. I'm Bob Paxton.
And I'm Ron Molero.
And we are the
FAIRtax Guys,
fighting for truth, justice, and the fair tax way.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to have a little fun today.
We are, but
let's see. You had a couple of good ones from Congress.gov.
Yeah, I'm going to really rocket through these things because we've got some stuff to go through. We've done this before. That the Lunch and Taxes video series that we did this a lot, but there are probably some folks that have never seen these things yet, so we're going to go through that one more time. But we did promise folks last week that we'd go through some more FAIRtax Gov stuff, and I got four of them really quick. H.R. 883 to amend the Internal Revenue Code. We've seen this before, to provide a tax credit to ensure that businesses are properly cleaned and disinfected when stay-at-home restrictions are lifted and to help prevent further infections. Yes, you need to define that in the tax code to make sure that businesses do what they're supposed to be doing anyway.
Congress wants to make sure we're keeping clean.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're using the tax code to do it.
Yes, H.R. 837 to amend the Internal Revenue Code to allow charitable organizations to make statements relating to political campaigns, i.e. they can exercise their First Amendment rights, if such statements are made in the ordinary course of carrying out its tax-exempt purposes. If we had more time, we could really dig into this one. Why the government is restricting what people can say and is using the threat of losing your tax-exempt status to restrict your freedom of speech.
Yeah. Somehow the phrase Bill of Rights comes to mind.
H.R. 822 to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to repeal the estate tax and retain stepped-up basis at death. Now, that stepped-up basis is something really, really cool. If you don't understand this, when you have an asset like stocks or bonds or a house or property, and you sell that, the difference between what you paid for it and what you sold it for is the amount that you pay taxes on, and the amount that's figured into that calculation, what it was when you bought it. They call that the basis. So the way this works is if somebody, you inherit something from your rich uncle.
Yeah, who passed away. Because the rich uncle has to pass away first for this work.
You inherited his house. He paid like $20,000 for it in 1920. Yeah. Now, if you inherited it now,
and it's worth $1 million,
then your basis would be what it's worth today.
Yeah.
And if you sold it, then you'd only have to pay the difference on what it's worth today and the time you sold it. If they get rid of that stepped up basis, then you sell $1 million house and that you paid $40,000 for.
Yeah.
They're going to know it. So we want to keep it so that when you inherit something, the value that's used to calculate your capital gains tax on that goes up to.
Or we can forget about all that nonsense and just go to the fair tax.
Yes, one more. H.R. 821 to amend the Internal Revenue Code to simplify reporting requirements, promote tax compliance, and reduce tip reporting compliance burdens in the beauty services industry. Hey, pass the fair tax and you got it done. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's get into this lunch and taxes. This is just such an incredibly well done, well written. Technically it's perfect. The acting is perfect. The writing is everything about this is really good. So we need to credit the guy behind this.
Yeah, Paul Wizikowski, who back in 2009 there was a contest of AFFT for somebody to make the best video promoting the fair tax, and Paul won because he's a video guy. In fact, according to his Facebook page, the last time I checked, he now has a job with NASA, which would be a great job, as a media guy. But he made these 5 videos that we call Lunch and Taxes. The scenario is there's this young lady on one side of the table. They're at lunch in a restaurant, and there's 2 guys. The guy with the coat and tie and the goatee, he represents the income tax people. And then the other guy in the sweater and the tie represents the fair tax. And so the young lady asks him a question, and both of these guys respond. All right? And it, like Bob said, it's really well done. I mean, it's well produced, it's well acted, it's well written, and each one is exactly a minute long. So let's do the first one.
Let's roll the first one. This is called How It Works. Roll it.
Yeah.
So tell me how it works.
It's probably changed since the last time I saw it, but the short answer would be, you want to take this one?
Oh, sure. Okay. Imagine bringing home everything you make. You don't get taxed for saving or accumulating wealth, and your boss doesn't get taxed more even if he pays you more.
Wow, now see, that's amazing.
So the end result of all that is the cost of producing products and running a business goes down, so things cost less. And on top of all that, imagine every criminal non-citizen, and under-the-table worker also paying taxes.
That's amazing.
That's the fair tax. We tax what you consume as you consume it, and that's it.
The guy who's supposed to know the income tax can't even explain his own system. That's priceless.
It is, and it demonstrates, you know, how do you explain the income tax? Okay, it's a tax on income. That's not even the tip of the iceberg, you know. It's just the beginning. So he is stymied to give a concise summary of the fair tax. Okay, but the fair tax guy very quickly and easily and effortlessly explains the fair tax, because everybody knows what a sales tax is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it points out first off, the income tax guy starts by saying, well, it's probably changed since the last time I saw it. Yeah, because it's changing almost every day in Congress.
I think that's in one of the later ones, but this is still, how does it work? Well, I'm asking.
Yes.
But he can't explain. But the fair tax guy looks at her and says, well, the cost of doing business goes down, which is a very significant point.
Yep. And so everybody pays. He talks about the fact that it's really hard to evade it because it's a sales tax. You pay it when you go to the store or you pay for the service. It's very hard to evade it. So everybody, whether they're here legally or not, or working under the table, doesn't make any difference how they earn a living. When they go to the store or pay for a service, they will pay the fair tax, okay? Very difficult to evade. Whereas with the income tax, we have huge evasion problems. Mm-hmm. Over $800 billion a year that's not going to the federal government that should be, because people are cheating.
And you'll get the same problem with the VAT tax. But let's. Very simple question. The young lady is concerned.
Yeah.
How much am I going to bring home?
Yeah. The next one. Yeah.
You got that one queued up. Go ahead.
So, how much will I bring home?
Go ahead.
How much do you make? We'll just say 40,000. Okay, keep it simple. Throw out the deductions, all that stuff. So you got your 40K, right? Now the first 8,000 is going to be taxed at 10%. The 8 to 33,000 is going to be taxed at 15%. And the 33 to 40, of course, is 25%. So that brings your total to $6,345.
Okay, so the average is what?
16%. Okay, and then on top of that, you got Medicare, which is 1.5%, and then of course your Social Security, which is 6.2%. So actually, your new total is $9,405.
Which is
23.65%. You're getting it. Don't even get me started on what the boss has to pay. He's got to pay a portion of your taxes as well, so you don't have to.
Right. And you?
Oh, you'd bring home every penny.
So after
a long, convoluted explanation of how it works from the income tax guy.
Yeah, up to this much, it's this percentage, and then it's a different percentage, then there's another percentage, plus your boss has to pay, and you have to pay the FICA taxes and so forth, and he goes on that, and then the fair tax guy says, oh, yeah, bring home every penny.
5 words, you bring home every penny. That's it. And of course, the point about that your boss has to pay, will pay some of it, so you don't have to. You'll pay it indirectly because your boss is now going to raise the cost of his products and services.
That's right.
You'll pay for that in higher prices.
And if that payroll tax went away, which it does with the fair tax, all right, goes away, then the boss could pass those savings on to the employee. I can't tell you if it's going to go on to the employee or going on to lower the price of their products. It depends on where the pressure is, But the government won't decide it. The private sector will decide it.
Yeah, but the idea that your boss will pay this tax burden so you don't have to is just bogus, because the retail customer pays it all.
Yeah. So it's. I can't get over after that. Like Bob said, after that long-winded discussion, all the different brackets and the fair tax guys. You bring home every penny.
You bring home it all. And
Yep.
pick up.
It drives the point home of the simplicity of the fair tax. Is just amazingly simple, because again, everybody knows what a sales tax is. We've lived with sales taxes all our lives, all our adult lives, and so forth. So it's not a big deal.
It is. Now, of the 5 videos, I think this one's my favorite.
The next one?
Yeah. What do you need for me to get these taxes collected?
Yeah.
And this is a classic. Let's roll it.
So what do you need from me to get these taxes collected?
Glad you asked, because there is a fair amount of information you need to be aware of.
That's your tax plan?
Oh, no, this is just the revisions for this year's tax plan. What I need from you is you need to keep track of all of your income, as well as any taxes that you've already paid. Also, any gifts that you received or gifts you've given to churches or charities or individuals throughout the entire year. Do you do any side jobs?
Every now and again.
Great, because there's some more information about that right here. Everything you need to know right here. So just simply compile that, send it in to us. Be careful, make sure there's no mistakes. If we do find mistakes were made, we can fine you or, throw you in jail. So you might want to be aware of that.
And what do you need from me?
As an individual, nothing. As a business owner, or if you're doing side jobs, I mean, yes, you would have to collect taxes on that, but, well, it's all right here.
Can I get a copy of that?
Oh, mercy. What's your tax plan? Brings out this huge
book.
volume, 6, 7, 8 inches thick, and then there's another one for the side job.
For the side jobs. Yeah, that's your tax plan? Oh, no. If I brought the tax plan here, it would go from the floor to the ceiling.
Yeah, these are just the changes from last year.
So, yeah, because the tax plan is 76,000 pages when you include everything, including the court cases and IRS decisions and so yeah.
My favorite part of that video was the part where it says, "Be careful if you make any mistakes. We can fine you. We can put you in jail, and you don't want that, do you?"
Yeah, and he laughs.
Why do we the people put up with that system?
Oh, jeez. And under the fair tax, only the vendor can get in trouble. I mean, you go to the store, you pay for your whatever you bought, you assume that the vendor is properly assessing the fair tax in there, just like they're currently doing with the sales tax, okay? And you're off the hook. I mean, you've done your due diligence. You've paid your taxes by making that purchase and paying the fair tax on that purchase. It's up to the vendor to collect it, and they make it easy. I can tell you, as a former truck leaser, all right, it's simple to collect these things. There's a special bank account set up. You send it there. The state collects it. So on. It's all automated, so it's not a big deal. It really isn't. Nothing like we have now with the IRS.
This is almost like the last one, where the income tax guy is going through this long, convoluted pseudo explanation of how his system works, and the fair tax guy just a few words. Oh, as an individual, nothing.
Yeah.
You don't need anything.
And if let's say that on the weekends, she was a DJ. She had her own DJ business, okay? She did weddings and stuff like that, okay? Well, that's a business. Yeah, you have to collect information on that. And if you're obviously charging people for your services, then you have to collect the sales tax. So as a business owner, even as a part-time business owner, yeah, you have to collect it on that. It's not a big deal. As an individual, no, nothing. You go to the store, you buy something, you're done. The vendor takes care of it. Mm-hmm. So it's very simple. It is so simple. People constantly ask when they first learn about this, why aren't we doing this already?
Yeah, that was my mother's reaction when I first explained it to her. That makes too much, and the answer is it makes too much sense.
Yeah,
and the other answer is that the Congress critters and the politicians and the lobbyists have a tight little knit group up there, and they're all making money off of the income tax code.
They sure are.
And we, the people, are having to foot the bill for it. And so that needs to. What do you need to get these taxes collected?
That
Individual?
video,
nothing.
Yep.
I love that one.
That video again drives home the simplicity, and simplicity spells out to lower costs for businesses, and it means their products and services will be less to produce. All right, and that's good. Okay.
Yeah, so you no longer have to keep track of all these receipts. You no longer have to keep records. And if you make a mistake, well, you can't make a mistake with the sales tax, but they can no longer fine you and put you in jail if you do it wrong.
Yeah. Now, if a vendor tries to cheat, well,
that's the vendor's problem. That's not
right.
the consumer's problem.
That's right.
And again, the fair tax is set up so that vendors are incentivized to collect it. They get to keep, I think, of 1/4%, which doesn't sound like much, but if I had 1/4% of what Walmart sells in a week,
yeah,
I'd be in skydiving planes for the rest of my life.
More power to you.
Yeah, good deal. I'll get you up in one of those things one of these days.
All right.
This producer say, you don't want to go watch him jump out of a plane? Okay. Then you can come with me. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, the next one. This is good, the way this starts, all right? And enjoy this. Okay.
So tell me, how could I pay less taxes?
Less.
Yeah, I'm trying to get ahead, so how can I pay less?
Well, I suppose you could pay less taxes by earning less money, or you could give to charity.
How is that going to help?
Actually, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but if you know the right people, okay, or if you have a really good lawyer, you can usually get around the big ones.
If I may, under the fair tax, to pay less taxes, you would simply consume less. You would control how much you pay and when you pay your taxes simply by choosing what you purchase and when you purchase something.
So I could stay focused and get ahead.
Exactly.
That figures. The IRS is just totally dumbfounded at the idea that somebody would want to pay less in taxes.
Yeah. and I've talked to people, one of the guys that's in our weekly business group, and he's a publisher, has a small paper in this area, and he has had to talk to IRS agents because he found a mistake and he wanted to refile, and the IRS agent said, well, you got some money back, why do you want to refile? Hey, buddy, it's not your money, it's my money.
But just astounded at the fact, why do you want to pay less?
Yeah.
As if paying less is like wanting to go to the dentist and getting your teeth drilled or something like that.
So then, first, like Bob says, he struggles to understand, pay less, and then he makes some stupid suggestions, all right? Well, you could pay less by earning less. And then
how does that help me get ahead?
or giving to charity, which is, a noble thing. But first, you get yourself ahead and you get a nice income. Then you can give to charities, okay? Mm-hmm. When you're established.
Then he tries to give her a little under the table advice.
Yeah. So
I'm not supposed to tell you this, but if you, this is how you cheat, admitting that his system is prone to being cheated on.
Oh boy.
That's crazy. And then the guy says the fair tax person just says just consume less.
Yeah.
And he could have, but he didn't. He could have mentioned buy used instead of buying new.
That's right.
That is a big deal. That there is no fair tax assessed on the retail sale of used. Can't say used services because there's no such animal, but used goods. So if you shop at the thrift store instead of at the department store, you can pay less that way. But he did kind of allude to that by what you choose to purchase and when you choose to purchase it.
But and that's a really important point for people, families that are just starting out. They're struggling to get by and so forth. But under the fair tax, they can legally avoid the fair tax. Like when it comes to buying a car, that's a big purchase, okay? Mm-hmm. You buy a used car, you don't worry about the fair tax, all right? Yep. No fair tax on used stuff. And then when it comes time to buy a house, almost 90% of home sales are for used houses. You think about it. You're not completely rebuilding the housing market every couple of years. They last a long time. So used house or pre-owned house, whatever the cliche is now, again, legally avoid the fair tax. That's a big deal for families that are starting out.
But that's going to kill demand for new cars and new houses.
Yeah, nonsense. It probably will drive up the price of used cars, but it's going to, again, market forces will prevail here.
That's something Jade talked about in his last seminar. Yeah. That there will be upward pressure on used goods for that, but there will be an equilibrium established. And you got to think about it. In order for there to be, somebody made a comment on one of our things about, the rich which will now we get used Ferraris and used yachts and used mansions. And the question, well, in order for those used items to even be on the market, they had to be new at one point.
Yeah, that's right.
In order for there to be this used stuff, new stuff has to be produced to find its way into the used market.
Yep.
So it's not like all new products are going to go away and all manufacturers are just going to shut down because everybody's buying used. But I would point out that if you want a Ferrari, a new Ferrari is a better status symbol than a used one, so folks will still buy the new stuff.
That's right. Yeah, because for some of these people, the status symbol is all important. Yep.
All right, we'll move along. One more last time. This is how the fair tax will affect working people. Roll it.
Yep.
So what would you do for her?
Well, we've got several programs that will help her. We just need to find out how much she makes. But the good news is, the less she does, the more we can help.
Yeah.
If I may, with the fair tax, we wouldn't even tax her income. So the more she makes, the more she has.
But still, a consumption tax could eat up a lot of her income.
Which is why at the beginning of every month, we're actually going to give back all that she pays in taxes on basic necessities.
You're going to give her back her taxes?
Every month. On everything taxed on basic necessities. But we're also going to give it back to you and to every American citizen.
Why?
Well, we believe taxes should be fair.
Yep.
I don't know who that young lady is that's in that, but she is just, yeah, right.
Yeah. Her facial expressions are precious. Yep.
She really nailed that. And of course, this one hits on the prebate. That's what makes the fair tax sing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's very important. He doesn't call it the family consumption allowance or the prebate or anything. He just says it mentions that there is going to be a rebate because it's very important. Yes, a sales tax is regressive. It hurts the people in the lower income levels more than the upper income levels. And the Americans for Fair Taxation recognized that problem when the fair tax was first put together. So that's how they came up with this prebate thing. And prebate is the key to fairness with the fair tax. The fair tax would not be successful without it. It is the most important feature. And it simply reimburses you for the taxes you pay on the basic necessities of life.
But again, she is incredulous at the idea, you're going to give me back my taxes?
Yeah. and again, going back to the income tax guy, all he can think of is government programs. There's government programs that help. All right, how about if we help ourselves, whether you're a single mom, working hard to get ahead or whatever, how about we just take care of ourselves by getting the income tax and the IRS out of the way? All right, wouldn't that be nice? Okay,
absolutely. Yeah, we just for your lower income folks, we just don't tax their income. Period. Let them keep everything they make.
Yep, and then they get the prebate to help them out too. I mean, for a single mom with one or two kids, that's a big deal. That prebate will really, really help, along with being able to buy used items. Okay, that's another big help. So the people that most need the help get the help with the fair tax. All right, it really helps the people that most need it. So
anyway, this whole series was just amazingly well done, and you can all levels.
And you can find these if you go to YouTube and look for the FAIRtax official YouTube page. They're on there, and I think they're also on a YouTube channel called FAIRtax Hub.
Yeah, they are. I found it FAIRtax Hub, which I understand is no longer active, but it's still they've still got their YouTube channel here.
Well, he had a website called FAIRtax Hub. That's no longer active, but the YouTube page is there, and you can find these there. So please find them and share them with all your friends. Put them on your Facebook or MeWe or when Parler comes back and so forth, or Gab, whatever. I got to see if they're on Rumble. I wonder if they're on Rumble yet. Rumble is like a YouTube alternative, okay? But anyways, find them, play them, use them, and share them with all your friends and family.
Well, actually, I just found, looking at this FairTax Hub YouTube channel, there is our video that we did with on these things. All the way back to episode 156. It was over a year ago. But these need to be revisited every now and then. 15 years from now, if we still have the income tax, which I hope we don't, those will still be relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. Because these videos are, I think, 11 or 12 years old. So and like when he was talking about the tax brackets, those figures might not be accurate, but the concept is valid. Right? So, okay, we almost reached the end here. We got
3 minutes to go, so that's enough time to tell everybody to go to Popbox and tell your representative you like the fair tax.
Yep. Popvox, popvox.com. It's a great website. You log in with your name and address. That way they know what congressional district you're in, and then you can do a search for any legislation that's pending, H.R. 25, and tell people why you're in favor of it. You can also look for other tax proposals, like maybe flat tax or something like that, and tell people why it's a bad idea, okay? Because the flat tax will not stay flat.
It will not stay flat. That is the lobbyist's full employment plan.
Yep. And also be on the lookout. Hopefully, it's not there yet. But if anybody submits a proposal for a VAT tax, you need to tell them the terrible problems with the VAT tax that we talked about in the last couple of episodes.
Absolutely. Whitehouse.gov contact. You can express your opinions. But one thing I want to do before make sure we get this in before we run out of time is that we are collecting questions for Jade Wiley. Write us at thefairtaxguys@gmail.com. If you've got any question or comment about the fair tax anyway that you want to direct to us, you can. But if you've got a question you'd like to direct to Jade Wiley, our CPA friend who's with us every quarter, in fact, it was his suggestion that y'all send in the questions that he might want to address. And he was thinking originally, well, of the ones that we get, we'll pick the best one and go with it. And let's decide no. And if somebody else sends in a question, we will get them an answer. We may pick one to go a little deeper into. But if you submit a legitimate question, not some off-the-wall crazy one, that you'd like to see Jade Wiley addressed, and that's coming up in late March or April. And so get that into the FairtaxGuys@gmail.com as well, and you can be famous with Jade.
Okay, and go to fairtax.org. Fairtax.org, that's the website of the national group, the Americans for Fair Taxation. And if you scroll down on the front page, you'll see a form there where you can fill it out and sign up for updates, all right? You will not get spam when you sign up with them. They never share or sell your information to anybody, okay? And if you care to make a donation, we encourage you to do that. In fact, you can also go to fairtax.org/1040 and join the 1040 Club, in which you commit to sending them $10.40 a month. Those recurring donations are very, very helpful to them because it is a national group. They've got expenses, big expenses each month. So
real quickly, we are on 3 terrestrial radio stations. Bob Scarborough, our friend in North Carolina, is trying to expand that. But if you have a local radio station that you think might carry a FairTax Power Radio, let us know. But that's going to wrap up this edition of FairTax Power Radio. Again, thank you so much for watching and listening. I'm Bob Paxton.
And I'm Ron Malero.
The FairTax Guys, reminding you again that the fair tax is the only truly fair tax. And once you understand it,
you'll demand it. Follow the FairTax Guys on social media and their own website, FairtaxGuys.com, and check back every week for a new episode of FairTax Power Radio.